to Say It with Roz. Did you know that you could eliminate police brutality by voting in your state and city elections? Yes, it is in your control. Today, I want to stress the importance of voting in every election, not just the presidential election, not just special elections, not just runoff elections, but every election, on every level, federal, state, city. You must vote in every election. Otherwise, you are throwing away your right to have a say in what happens to you. I've heard of some people who only vote in the presidential elections. Now, I guess those folks don't realize that their local leaders really control more of their everyday life than the federal government. If you don't vote in your city and state elections, you are not participating in electing your local leaders. It's as simple as that. You're letting other people determine who leads your city and your state, which directly affects you. Most of the laws that are put into place by the federal government are actually executed, carried out by the state officials. They're carried out on the state level. So it's very important to make sure that you have in place good government in your state and your city. And if you've been paying attention to what is going on in Washington, D.C. right now, you can see that the president has very little power unless he has the cooperation of other leaders. And those other leaders are the representatives, the House of Representatives, and the Senate. And who picks the House of Representatives and the Senate? You. You vote on the state level as to who you want to represent your state in Washington. Yes, you send those folks to Washington. You need to make sure that you are sending the right people. And you must vote in order to do that. You simply cannot sit out of any election and expect everything to be okay. You just cannot do that. So many people complain about police brutality. But if you don't vote, you have no right to complain about police brutality. Because did you know that the governor, the mayor, and the city council play a big part in law enforcement? The governor sets the tone for the state overall. And the governor has a lot of power. He can call the National Guard, to keep the peace if it's necessary. The governor can give or deny pardons, from prisoners, He has that power to do that. The governor also appoints state Supreme Court judges, who make the laws in the state. So the governor plays a big part in law enforcement, and he also has authority over the cities as well. Okay? And the mayor of the city is the one who appoints the police chief for each city. And sometimes the city council plays a part in that as well. So it can be the mayor along with the city council who appoints someone as police chief. Okay? And the police chief hires police officers. So there's a chain of command there, and all of these leaders have the ability to set the tone as to how they want their people to operate. So it's very, 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 very important for you to have the right governor in place, to have the right city mayor in place, the right city council, and the right police chief, and the right police officers. So if any one of those are corrupt, there's going to be a breakdown. If the governor doesn't have the right mindset, or the mayor doesn't, or the police chief doesn't, or the city council, you're just going to have a mess. So you have to make sure that you have the right people in the right places to set the right tones for government. It is all controlled by the vote. So you see how important it is to vote. And you are very mistaken if you think that you can go along and bypass voting or even go in and not really know who you're voting for. That's another thing I want to stress. You simply must know who you're voting for. You must do the work to know who these people are and what they stand for as best that you can. You must do that. You can't go into the voting booth and go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, You just can't do it, Or, okay, this name sounds okay. No, you have to know who you're voting for. It's better to work all of that out before you even get to the voting booth. You go in there, you have your little cheat sheet on, you know, the offices that are being run for, and the person that you've chosen that you're going to vote for. Have that all written out, typed out, printed out, however you can do it, you know. So when you go in that booth, all you have to do is look at those names, look at your, you know, look at that ballot, look at your paper, and make your vote, you know. Yes, you know who you're voting for. You must. There's no way that you can be sure that you're putting the right person into office if you don't know who you're voting for. Please, people, do the work. Do the work. Don't listen to anybody, what anyone says. Oh, this guy is this. This lady is this. Vote for this one. Vote for that one. No, you research those candidates. You might already kind of know who you want to vote for, or think you do, but you still do the work. Do the work, people. Know who you're voting for. And when it comes to primary elections, you simply must do the work to know who these candidates are so you can choose the right one to represent your party in the general election. Now that goes no matter what side you're on, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent, it doesn't matter. You must do the work in a primary to know who these candidates are, and then select the one that you think would best represent you in the general election. Yes. I just can't stress that enough. Knowing, first of all, you must vote in every election. There is no skipping. Every single election is important. Sometimes they do elections and they just have a bunch of propositions, you know, the way they are doing now here in Texas, where I am. We have an election on November the 2nd, next week, Tuesday, and I have to read all of those propositions and understand them, and to know whether I want to vote yes or no. So always do the work, people. Know who and what you're voting for. Always. There is no skipping elections. You must vote in every election. It is your duty as a citizen of this United States, and you should be honored, feel privileged to be able to cast a vote. Don't throw that away. People have died, you know, for us to vote, you know. Women, you should know too how it is to not be able to vote. Women had to fight for their vote. Ladies, don't stay home on voting day. Vote. Don't stay home on voting day. Everyone should go out and vote, regardless of what side you're on. You need to vote. And one last thing I want to say about skipping voting, skipping elections. I don't know if you just skip one election, 2, 3, how many it is, but when you start skipping voting in elections, they will purge your registration from the records, okay? And you might just bop yourself up to the voting poll on voting day to discover that you no longer are a registered voter. So don't let that happen to you either, you know. Just make sure you vote in every election. Know when the elections are being held and go vote. It's very, very important. I just want to wrap this up by saying that your vote is your greatest weapon against injustice. It really is. No matter what anyone tells you, it is the best tool that you have in fighting injustice. You can vote in the right people and you can vote out the wrong people. It is in your power. And you should know that if your vote was not important, no one would try to suppress your vote. They would not be trying to make it hard for you to vote. Every vote counts. And your vote is one of those votes. It's important. It counts. So until next time, over and out.